Hello everyone. In the last lecture, we discussed about different types of computers, their features and their advantages in each field. Today, we will discuss about the history of computers. As we know, as a human has his own history, everything has his own history. So, computers also have their own history. So we can say that based on the technology used in building a computer, computers are divided into several generations. So we will discuss about the generations of computers. So first of all, before thousands of years ago, computers were not in the form as we see nowadays. Computers were totally different and they were totally operated by hand, or we can say without electricity. Thousands years of ago, thousand of years ago, man did not have to do many complex calculations. So that man used to use their fingers and toes or pebbles for counting. But then man started trading, and then he failed to need various mathematical operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. So, for these complex calculations, he wanted a new device that can make his task easier. So, we can say for speed and accuracy, man invented before 5,000 years ago a device that was called as abacus. It was invented in China. It consisted of a row of wires fixed on a wooden frame. The wires have multicolored beads strung on them. Simple calculations were done very quickly by sliding the beads up and down on the wires. Soon, the abacus began to be used in many countries all over the world. Nowadays, also, we can see there are many abacus classes all over our city, and children used to get admission for the faster calculation or faster mathematical skills developments. The next thing, we did not stop there with abacus only. Then, someone introduced another device, and it was Napier's bones. It is said that in 1614, a Scottish mathematician called John Napier invented a device for the most complex multiplications. It was known as Napier's bones. It was a set of rods carved from bones. Each rod had four faces. The numbers 0 to 9 were marked on them in such a way that we could find out the product of any numbers by placing the rods side by side. The Napier's bones were made from the bones of the animals. In the same era, inspired by Napier's bones, an English mathematician called William Oughtred invented a device in year 1620. The device was called as slide rule. It consisted of two scaled rules, one fixed over the another. These two rules slide along each other to do multiplication, division, and even more complex calculation that can be easily, quickly, and accurately done with the help of the numbers marked on them. We can see here on the screen that the slide rule is placed on the table, and here a device is there that can be moved from this place to the another end of the device, which could be slided to get different multiplication or division or other complex calculations. So, before electronic calculator was invented, about 300 years, scientists and mathematicians used to do the calculation with the help of slide rule. After this thing, a person or a scientist named Pascal, Blaise Pascal, invented a new device that is called as Pascaline. The device was introduced or invented in 1642. Blaise Pascal was a young Frenchman who invented a mechanical calculating device for addition and subtractions. It consisted a set of interlocking cogs and wheels on various axles. After this, in 1674, German mathematician named Gottfried Leibniz modified the Pascaline and introduced a machine that was known as multiplier wheel. After this era, also there were huge changes in computer technologies and various machines were introduced or invented by different scientists. In 1834, Charles Babbage, who was a Scottish mathematician, he developed a concept of computer by designing a calculating machine that was called as analytical engine. We can say that the analytical engine had an input device, a unit for mathematical calculations, a control unit, a memory unit or a memory bank, and also an output device. Unfortunately, Babbage could not complete the construction of this machine till he is known as the father of a computer. We can say that he introduced a device that is similar with the today's computer, that can take input, that can control the device, that can save the inputs as well as output for a long time and gives required results. So the machine was the first phase of today's devices or today's machine. So we call Charles Babbage as a father of computer. After this generation or after this era, a new technology was introduced by an American statistician. He designed a machine that was driven by electricity. The name of this person or this scientist was Herman Hollerith. In 1890, he invented punched cards. Punch cards were stiff paper with holes punched at fixed points. They were used to feed data or numbers into the machine. They were used in computers for many years since invention. Now the time or the era for the first generations come ahead. The first generation computers were invented around 1920. In the first generation, an electrical device called vacuum tube was invented. The vacuum tubes brought a tremendous increase in the speed of calculations. It is said that in 1945, J.P. Eckert and John Mauchly, these two American engineers, used vacuum tubes to build ENIAC, the first electronic calculation machine. We know that compute means to calculate. Since ENIAC could do only calculation, it came to be known as computer. It means the device to compute, the device to calculate. So afterwards, many improvements were made in this ENIAC. It began to use not only for doing calculations but also writing, listening to music, drawing, playing games, many other tasks. The ENIAC was so large that it would occupy a big hall. It had around 18,000 vacuum tubes and consumed a large amount of electricity. So it could not work faster or it didn't have a fantastic speed for the calculations. It used to perform 5,000 additions in 1 second and 502 digit multiplication in 1 second. The ENIAC called as granddaddy of the present computers. The computers like ENIAC, which used vacuum tubes, are called the first generation computers. These computers were very large in scale or size. They were not efficient as the palm tops or laptops in today's generation. Now let us discuss with the next generation of the computer, that is the second generation of computer. It is said that in 1955 to 60 the duration was of second generation computer. William Shockley in 1948 introduced the transistor, which replaced vacuum tubes in a computer. Actually, the computers used vacuum tubes. They were in a huge size, but as these transistors were very small as compared to vacuum tubes, they reduced the size of a computer. The transistor was 200 times smaller than a vacuum tube, and also it consumed less electricity. The first transistor computer was created in 1953. This generation increased the speed of the computer. The second generation transistors were looking like the pictures on the screen. Now let us see the third generation computers, that is about near 1960s. In 1958, Jack Kibley, the scientist, invented a chip. He fixed many transistors and other electronic components on a single chip that was called as integrated circuit, short formed as IC. Thousands of transistors and other electronics components were fixed on a small chip. Now, this also reduced the size of the computer. So we can compare the first, second and third generation computers, and we can say that the first generation computers were very huge in size. The second generation computers, which used transistors, they were little bit reduced sized, and the third generation computers were very small as compared to the second generation and first generation computers. This kind of integrated circuits were used on a single chip. The third generation computers were much cheaper, smaller in size, and also the speed or the processing were at the high scale, and high high kind of calculations could be done. Also the computer were made multitasking. As we can say, with the decrease or reduced size of the computers, it made the computers being cheaper in cost. Also, the next generation computers used to take less electricity to be operated. Now, the fourth generation computers. It could be said that after 1971, the fourth generation of computers started. The fourth generation computers could be seen at every house or every office nowadays. The fourth generation computers used very large scale integration technology. In this technology, a million electronic components can be fixed on a single microprocessor. That is the microprocessor chip. This chip was invented in 1969 by Ted Hoff. It controls the entire working of a computer. Large scale functions can be operated on this single chip. It functions like a human brain, but it does not have its own brain. And it also requires a set of instructions that is called as a program to carry the functions we tell. The PCs or the personal computers at our home or offices, that can be called an example as a computer that uses microprocessor chip. And the last but not the least, the fifth generation computers. These computers are coming or yet to come within the future years. These computers are still in working process or making process. Efforts are on to make a computer that is based on knowledge based procedure and artificial intelligence, which can help a computer to read, write, speak, and modify as a human does. These computers are more reliable, they work faster, they are portable in different sizes, different features, and affordable prices are there. They have extra high processing speed and parallel processing, also they are wireless. These all features are present in the fifth generation computers. We can rely easily on these computers as they work on the data in the fast speed very reliably. If you provide the proper data, they will work with the proper program. They can work faster as compared to all the previous generation computers. They are easily portable as they are wireless. They are easily portable. It means you can put them wherever you want. They are in different sizes. They are in size of a man. Also, they can be put in a small compartment or they can be wear on your body also. They are with different features. So these computers will require millions of transistors and other electronic components fixed on chips. They will use super large scale integrated chips. Nowadays, we can see the robots are the forms of these generation computers. They can work with their own data or own intelligence. Nowadays, in various medical operations, computers are used. So we can say this is about the generation of computers. Thank you.